Hi, this is Nicole Roberts-Jones, and welcome to Amplify Your Brilliance. What I know for sure is that one of life's greatest gifts will meet you when you go after your more. And so here is where I share with you thought-provoking insight and behind-the-curtain conversations with women who have reached the pinnacle of success because they went after their more. And I really want you to get this. One idea from these episodes can make a remarkable difference, not just in your business, your career, but in your life. Also, make sure you join the conversation in our Facebook group. Go to thebrilliancetribe.com. Now grab your pen as we begin today's session of Amplify Your Brilliance. Hello and welcome to this episode. You got to know this is one of my sisters from another mister, I guess I should say, right? Because I can't say brother from another mother. So for some of you, you're meeting her for the first time. Others of you already know this powerhouse woman. Her name is Tara Gates Williams, who is the CEO of TGW UNIFIED, LLC. She has worked with professional athletes, entrepreneurs, small businesses, major corporations, all to elevate and expand their brand. And she has also taken her expertise into the film industry, doing branding and marketing for films. So Tara has been featured on ABC, on Huffington Post, the Capital Woman Source magazine. The list goes on and on. Her various radio and TV and podcasts, all of featuring her expertise around branding and marketing. So her career spans over 15 years in entrepreneurship, business, media, and communications arenas. But enough of that. Let's hear from the lady. Welcome, Miss Tara.
Hey, how are you, Nicole? Thank you so much for having me. And I just have to tell you, I'm so proud of you with what you're doing. You're always doing something positive for women. And I just love the energy you bring. So it's just an honor to be here.
Girl, and let me tell y'all, and tell them myself. So I said, Tara, we can't start talking now because if we start talking right now, we'll never record our interview. So I'm excited about the conversation that's going to happen after this is done. And I'm excited about this conversation too, because here's what I know about you. And the time that I've known you, I've seen you expand your territory over and over again. So first, let's start with this. How did you even say yes to start your own business?
Ooh, I think because I was always a busy person, right? Mm-hmm. But I wanted to be sure that my busy became productive. So I was like, let me add the nest on the end of that busy.
Okay.
I want to be business. So I said, let me start a business. What do I like to do? And I think that was my first mistake, because what I like to do is great. And I think if it's something you like to do, if you don't know how to monetize it, then it's just a hobby.
Say that again. Right.
So I became even though I was doing stuff I like to do, it wasn't necessarily making me money. So I had to learn, okay, wait a minute. I can still do some things, but how can I pivot, so to speak? So I am monetizing. So that's, girl, I've had every business known to man. If it came with a kit, I was doing it. I remember, because I love to clean, right? Like, I'm a cleaning fanatic. That is my thing. I love to clean. Like, I tell my husband, if you do all the cooking, I promise I clean everything up. And I remember my aunt was in a rehab center. After she had a surgery, she had to go to rehab to get her strength back, all that kind of stuff. And whenever I went up there, it would just irk me because I didn't feel like it was clean, like a hospital should be, right? And I said, I'm a cleaning fanatic. I used to come up there 3 times a week to clean her room myself. And my aunt was like, honey, you need to start a cleaning business. And so I was like, you know what? Absolutely. Now, this is how I can monetize what I love to do. I love to clean. Now, why don't I start a cleaning company? So when she gave me that idea, I literally started a cleaning company, called it Capital Clean. And then I got, my business insurance. I got, all the official stuff that you need to do. Because if you're going to do business, you better handle your business first. And so I then started, okay, now I could do residential. I could do commercial. I could do, what did I say? Residential, commercial, and something else. I can't remember, corporate. And I remember I then would go around my local neighborhood to try to get clients. So I got contract with World Gym,
which is no small client. Hello.
So when I got contract, no small client at all. And I was like, okay. Then I started hiring, and I wanted to be intentional. So I was like, let me go to the local, I forgot what they call job employment center in our county. And so I was hiring people who were, had may have had difficulty getting jobs or something like that. Hired them, hired a manager that would oversee everything. And boom, there my business was. And it was something I loved to do.
But here's the thing, look, and you guys, she even dropping nuggets. Y'all don't even know it yet. So if y'all not taking notes, I'm taking notes. Okay. So the thing that I love is not only did you monetize it, but you started to quickly expand.
Yeah.
And then even after that, how did you go from that to branding?
Ooh. Girl, you making me skip over a whole lot of stuff.
Right, look. If they want all of it, they need to buy the book.
Yeah, exactly. So let me say this first,
right.
that I think is very important for people to understand too when you're starting a business. So you have to remember that I always had this mindset that I have to start a business that if my entire team left tomorrow, would I be able to do it?
Right.
And the fact that I love to clean. If some of my employees were out, guess where I was? I was right over there cleaning.
Yep.
And people look at certain things, and cleaning is a recession-proof business. Like everybody don't want to humble themselves to clean up. So that I took that into account as well. So just keep that in mind. It was just like a little piece. Like you can't just start a business and it be something that you don't want to do if everything else went under at that moment.
And even when you first started, let's keep it all the way real. And it'll make sense, by the way, why I'm having you pivot to talk about branding in a minute.
Yeah.
But let's keep it all the way real. You started with you were the only person doing all the work.
Yep.
And as the business expanded is when you hired people. And at some point, as your business expand and you move out of the day-to-day and move more into the administrative and the CEO role, right?
Yep.
And I want you guys to get this. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time.
Yes.
And so you actually showed us a journey in your story. I'm just saying, if it's somebody that didn't get it, that look for overnight success, which there is no such thing
at all. You got to stick with it, stay in it, and be committed to it. And I was having this conversation with my little brother yesterday. It's so funny that you're saying this because he was talking about, hey, I started a couple of businesses. I kind of didn't see it through. I said, yeah, and it's not going to produce fruit. You just can't plant a seed and think tomorrow is going to bloom in full bloom. Be in full bloom. But you know what I'm saying? So how I did that jump. So when I did do my cleaning business, I learned some hard lessons. I lost some money. I learned a lot of hard lessons and I loved it. I wouldn't change it for a second because when I finally finished that business, like new management took over World Gym. They didn't want to honor my contract. It was like all this stuff. And I'm just like a wee little business owner. So I'm like, okay, cool. I then said to myself, what can I do to educate myself? I'm an educator by nature. I was in education for over 26 years. I'm a retired high school principal. So I was like, how can I educate myself in this business realm other than the savvy that I have currently? So I went back to school to get my MBA. And during that time, we spent some time in Brussels, Belgium, and Romania. And during that time, we were studying international business over there and learning about how American corporations functioned in international countries doing business. So we learned about that. So I was there with some cohort members of mine that said, hey, you have such great ideas all the time. Can you do PR for our import-export business? And I was like, yes, absolutely. And so at that time, Nicole, little old Tara Gates Williams did not know anything about PR.
Right.
So when I got back from our time in Europe, I got a second master's in public relations. And that's when I started doing the PR. Now, this is going to lead to branding. So listen closely, folks.
Yes.
When I was doing PR, people were coming to me. So I was doing entertainment stuff, just regular business people. They were coming to me to do public relations. But what I was learning is that they didn't have a brand for me to promote.
Come on. Well, let's just stay there for a minute because just because you think that you have something to promote, if your brand is not intact, and explain to people what you mean by branding, because let me tell you, girl, how many people don't get this? And this right here is worth this whole conversation, what she's about to say.
Oh, yeah. And I'm about to break 3 levels down to you. Branding, marketing, and public relations. They may be interrelated, but they are starkly different. Branding is the added value that you have. It's the added value you bring to anything. What is it you do so well that it adds value to anywhere you go or anywhere you're offering your services? That is your brand, so to speak.
Right.
But what I want people to understand is that your brand evolves into your reputation and visibility.
Yep.
So if you understand the added value you have, that and you deliver on that added value, then people will start talking about you. And that is where your reputation is built out of other people's mouths by your actions and the added value and delivering at the highest level and the added value you bring. Now, when your reputation is starting to be built and is solid, your visibility increases. So I want people to understand your brand is the added value you bring, but it's also your reputation and visibility. So when you have a strong reputation and you have really heightened visibility, you're establishing a position within your industry.
Yes.
So my goal was, I want to be a brand expert, right? I did a vision board in 2018. I want to be a world-renowned brand expert. 2019, I was on Al Jazeera. So like and
we talked about that. That's so deep. But anyway, well, that's a whole, that's deep.
Yeah, it becomes, right? So my reputation I had built my reputation such and gotten visibility such that someone there noticed me. Now I have a good position within the whole branding world, right? Seen as an expert. I remember the first time somebody called me an expert, I was like, huh? I'm an expert. Right. But then I started to realize people were coming to me for a lot of things. So understand, I have to say it again, because this is the teacher in me, Nicole. Your brand is your added value that you bring, and how you deliver on that added value at the highest level creates your reputation and increases your visibility. Now, all of that establishes your position within your industry. Now, so then if you want to sum it up, you could say branding is your position within your industry. Now, marketing is how you promote that position that you have built.
That's good.
You with me? And then through that marketing, you then are able to formulate a relationship with your public. That's where the PR comes in.
That's so good. And here's where I see so many entrepreneurs fail as they start trying to get branding before they're clear on their one thing. And let me tell you guys what I mean by that, because you can't be everything to everybody. You need to be one thing for a group of people that need you, right? And I see so many people that are so unclear. I maximize people's potential. That is so vague. Can't nobody, what value does that speak to?
Yeah.
And I see so many people just try to rush out there, and I see Tara doing this. I know I need to be on magazines and magazines. I know I need to write articles, but about what? What is that lane that your brilliance has been created to swim in?
Exactly. And you have to understand, like, my passion, I already know what my passion statement is. Every day I wake up. My passion is to elevate others.
Yep, that is who you are. That's who you are, yeah.
So when you're living in, for me, understanding that is what I was born to do, I had to understand that being a servant to others, right, is a part of that. Yeah. So you have to have this mindset, because whatever you're doing, you're serving others. Whatever your industry is, you're serving others. You're doing it with this podcast. You're serving gems and information for people to be able to be better and sound business owners. Because I've had a million people come to me. Oh, I need branding. I need a website and the logo. That's not your brand. That's visual aspects of your brand.
Right. Can I just say this? This is going to make you laugh. I remember I got a call. Should I say who? Let me just say who. So I got a call from the Massachusetts Black Lawyers. I hope none of them are listening, but if they are, y'all know you called me to be a keynote speaker for an event. They wanted a keynote on branding. I said, so let me be clear. Tell me what the result is that you want, because I know that most people that say they want branding, that's not what they want, because they don't truly understand what branding is, right? And so the president at the time said, well, what we want to do is help them create more revenue. I said, well, you don't want a branding workshop, because just because you have a pretty website and a picture, a phenomenal photo, does not mean you're drumming up business. How do you get people to the website to drum it up is what you want, which is to bankroll your brilliance, which is my expertise. And it's really, the reason I'm bringing that up is because so many people, and I'm not saying you don't need to have phenomenal photos, you do. I'm not saying you need to have a phenomenal website, you do. But if you're not clear on the value, like you said, the value that you bring, before you get any of that, all of that phenomenal, it could be pretty, it could look great, you can have all the buzzwords on it. But if you aren't speaking to what's valuable with your brilliance, what value, and the reason I was hesitating is what came to me as I was saying that, is what diamonds drop out of your mouth, right? What is the thing that you're so great at and so phenomenally gifted at that people come to you for? Which is why when you started in your story with the cleaning service, the thing when you see Tara, she is a walking brand. I'm just saying, right? She oozes branding, marketing, and PR. From the time I met you years ago, it oozed out of you, right? And so I'm saying that because she doesn't have to try to be it. She is it. And so for many people, you're trying to be something that you're not, and or you don't even take the time to get to know yourself, but yet you want to have this great big brand. Really?
Yeah. And I have to like really address like what you said. Like it's not about the appearance because, you know, I remember when I was younger, my mother used to always make sure you gotta be sure that you presenting well, you know, hair, outfit has to be, you know, you have to show up appearance wise. Because my mom, she always said, that's what's going to get you in the door. Because people don't know you. People don't know you yet. So get in the door. But what keeps you in the room is who you are. And that's like where my dad came in. He used to always say, all you have is your name. And so once you're in there, you want your name to speak for you. But your name cannot speak for you without you possessing certain character traits, a certain work ethic, a certain commitment to what you do. You know, I always said, I then began, and I know this sounds kind of morbid, but I then began to move through life that if my funeral were tomorrow, what would people be saying about me? What would I have left behind that will leave an impact on someone else?
Yes, that's so good.
And so I just always would picture that, like, you know, just what are people going to say about me? And that is, you know, what people say a lot of times that branding is. Jeff Bezos said this. I think is it Jeff Bezos that owns Amazon, right? Okay. He said your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room.
He said it better than that. I just, you know, but that's the gist of it.
Right.
It's not verbatim. But that's the big thing. I want people to speak out my name in a room full of opportunity if I'm absent.
Yeah, that's so good.
And the only way they do that, and we did a Clubhouse talk on this, and the only way they do that is through who you are, what you do, and how you deliver on what you do.
Right. And it's really in the strength of who you be. And I'm saying that because you've got to be clear and uncompromising about who you be. And I know for years I was scared to be who I be, right? Because listen, let me keep it all the way real. I'm from South Central LA, but I'm also bougie, the nerve, right? But I am. Okay. So sometimes I used to try to hide the little ghetto Nicole, but guess what? I can't. She's present always, right? Now, so I had to stop trying to be who I wasn't and stand confidently in who I am. Yes, which is, I coined a word for it. It's called bougetto. I'm bougie and I'm ghetto. And not only that, but also being clear on what my giftedness is and what it's not. And being able to say no, which is a complete sentence, y'all, when someone's asking me to do something. So like when I got that call about doing that branding workshop, if when I asked the question about what she wanted, she didn't say anything about helping them create more revenue or helping them look at how they're doing their business or anything that's in alignment with what I do, I would have turned it down.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying that about me, but I'm saying that because somebody that's listening, you've got to understand the reason that you've been successful in your ventures. And I believe that first business was shut down because this was where you were supposed to be. And you wouldn't have got here had you not done that. Right. But
everything's a part of the process.
Right.
Baby.
But it's being clear and uncompromising.
Yeah.
And that's who you are. That's totally who you are.
I think all the so-called losses that I experienced were the real wins. And I think a lot of people don't see it that way. Like, I love the fact that I failed at so many things. Had I just been going through life succeeding all the time, I would be in this disillusioned state that I didn't need to grow.
But even as you said earlier, you were having a conversation with your cousin about you can't just plant a seed and then it just grows. I believe it's the failures of the seeds that were planted and they grew a little bit, right? And this is that pruning process where you got to cut back a limb or whatever. You know, I'm not a gardener, so y'all hang with me as I'm talking about this, right? But you got to prune in order to grow. And sometimes it feels like a setback, but really it's God setting you up for a phenomenal comeback.
Yeah, because a new bud will bloom. You just got to keep watering.
Yes. We're going to stop here and take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for more. Have you realized that you've been building someone else's billion-dollar brand? And there's a billion-dollar brand in you. And I wonder if you even know that you can begin your business now without letting go of your paycheck. And see, that's why I wrote my free ebook alongside my 9 to 5. So go grab your copy at alongsidemy9to5.com. By the way, that's the number 9 and the number 5, alongsidemy9to5.com. See, most people tell you to quit to begin your business, and what I know for sure is that's setting you up for failure. Why? Because even if you've saved a year's salary, you've got to spend money to make money. And so the wisest choice you can ever make is to begin to build your business alongside that 9 to 5. Listen, I created the ebook alongside my9to5.com to give you all the insight you need to start and plan your business with grace and ease. Because who wants to hustle? See, I want to teach you how to make money while you sleep. Yes, you can generate income while you're sitting in your office, even while you're conducting a meeting. See, you can be doing all of that and your business can and will generate revenue for you. So go grab your copy alongside your 9to5.com. Yeah.
For me, I really had to be in touch with God through everything that I did because it was one business that I was doing and I kept on doing, and it produced an abundance of fruit. But then it just stopped producing at all. And I was still trying to make it produce. And God told me one day, he's like, I'm no longer feeding this.
Girl.
So what are you still doing here?
Whew. And so I have a confession to make. That same thing happened to me. So my first business, working with teenage girls, even though I started doing this, I had 2 divisions. That teenage girl business kept not working. So one day God said to me, why do you keep trying? Literally, y'all, and I had not heard God's voice before, so I thought I was hearing things. So he said, why do you keep trying to resuscitate a dead baby? I was like, not only did I hear God's voice first time, but why you got to say it like that, Lord, right?
Yeah.
So, but literally,
you got to wake us
girl. And so I kept saying, and then here's the thing, I'm about to tell you the truth. So then when I said back with my sassiness, why are you just not telling me this? Here's what God said back to me. Because your ego couldn't take it.
Come on.
I was like, woo, because my ego was so tied in that first business that I couldn't see how God was expanding my territory because I was so tied to who I had become over here that there was a whole new level he had for me.
Mm-hmm. And we will miss out on the next level trying to still build at the same level.
Yes.
Where that either the building is complete, or it's going to crumble.
Right.
And I think we just have to have that awareness and have that connection with God, because I learned the hard way. I got to check in with him on everything I do before I do it. I have to. It goes back to what you're saying, the power in saying no. Yeah. The power in saying no to certain things, and I'm very clear on what I'm not good at.
Me too. So right. And I have no shame in it. Like I can't do that. Exactly. I don't do that. I hire for that.
Exactly. Right. And and it's so funny because my husband reminded me of this like a couple of months ago. And, people will come to me for the branding piece, and then it sometimes bleeds over into the PR and marketing. Right. And I had gotten out of that for various reasons. And he kept saying, why are you still trying to do all of those things that you said you weren't going to do anymore? I said, because sometimes when I help somebody build a brand, it becomes my baby and I want to be sure it gets out there right. He was like, yes, but that's not what you told me you were committed to. So you doing all this stuff is now taken away from certain things. I said, so the distractions will come. Yep. Right. So I had to get very clear on that and say, hey, no, this is what I do and this is what I provide. And that's where I stop. Now, if you want to go to this, then you go do that. But I know I live. This is where I live, and this is where I deliver at my highest level. And it's not that I don't want to go above and beyond into anything else. This is where God has me. So, yeah.
That's so good, And as you're talking about that, it makes me think of this. And I tell this story all the time. Some of y'all have heard me tell this story. So but I think it bears repeating. There's this Olympic runner, Gwen Torrance. Now, I read this years ago and I was reminded of this, and I've been sharing it ever since God reminded me. She was like the fastest running woman in 1995. And to make a long story short, because we don't have time on this episode for me to go through the whole story, she ran this race in 1995 and she won. Now, y'all know, anytime somebody wins, especially a sister, we doing extra. So she running around waving at people, they throwing flowers at her, she doing all the victory lap thing, all that. Then she starts getting interviewed by television reporters. She's doing all of that. When in the midst of her doing that, the judges go back to view the tape and they see a discrepancy. She won running in somebody else's lane at the end. And so she got disqualified. And when I read that story, what popped in my mind is every time you try to run in somebody else's lane, you get disqualified. See, God didn't qualify you to do this thing over here. He qualified you to do this thing over there. So when your husband reminded you of that, he was like, girl, now here's what I know. And I say this to my clients all the time, all money ain't good money. So sometimes it feels good. You do the front one client, you do these other things. I've done it too. And it feels good. But then there's that one client that you like, dang, I knew I shouldn't have started this. Because you in a lane that God has not created you to swim in.
And see, here's the thing about it is you're so busy trying to win, you don't even realize.
Come on, girl. Right.
That you stepped over into somebody else's lane.
Because that's not your intention. But you've got to be clear on compromising and focus. And if nothing that we've learned in this conversation with you is you've got to be clear on compromising and focus. So believe it or not, girl, our time is almost up. And you've given us so many nuggets, right? Look,
we could chat
girl,
all day,
we have. So if you had to give a woman that's listening, 2 or 3 things that she has to do right now to be clear and focused on what's next for her, what would you tell her that she has to do?
Understand and know the added value that you bring. You have to be in touch with that. I said this earlier, because that is the starting point. That is the foundation of everything else that leads into everything else. You have to know the added value you bring, and you have to be committed, so committed that you deliver at the highest level on that added value. It all starts there. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, I don't want to give the whole, be sure you got all your business stuff in order. I mean, that's a given, right? I'm not going to tell you that. I mean, you know that. I want people to understand, what is it not only that I want to do, but what is it that I do so well that is going to change someone else's situation, circumstance, experience with me? Because it is all about the experience people have with you that keeps them coming back to you. And in order for you to create that sincere, genuine, authentic experience for them, you have to know what your added value is and deliver it at its highest level.
That's so good.
That's my 2 cents.
That's good. That's worth. Drop the mic and keep it pushing. So, girl, thank you for. Look, I got 2 pages of notes. I don't know about the rest of y'all. and so, thank you for everything you've given to us. Thank you for saying yes and for being the expert that you are. Thank you for staying in your lane. Thank you for just showing up and showing out no matter what you do and where you do it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this platform. I'm so proud of you and what you're affording all the women that are going to be speaking on this. I'm grateful and honored to be a part of it. And I'm just praying for your continued overflow in 2021, honey.
Yes, girl. Same here for you. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Amplify Your Brilliance. Now, I want you to walk away from these sessions with value, so answer either one or all 3 of these questions. Number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what will you do different as a result of what you heard? See, you may have heard something you've already heard, or you may have learned something new. Either way, don't take the insight that was shared with you for granted. So commit to doing one thing different as a result of what you heard. Number 3, what was confirmation for you? What did you hear that confirmed you're on the right path? See, I want you to take a moment and celebrate you. Too often in our journey, we focus on what we're not doing and we forget to celebrate what we are doing. So I want you to share with us something that showed you that you're on the right path. Now again, share. Share either answer number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what will you do different? Or number 3, what was confirmation for you? And share it in our Facebook community. Go to thebrilliancetribe.com and use the hashtag #AmplifyYourBrilliance. See, each experience we encourage, support, and celebrate as a community. It allows us to expand in possibility and wisdom, in encouragement and love. Now, we've invited you into this community to deepen our journey with being the answer somebody needs and being committed to your next level. So until the next time, be extraordinary, be unapologetic, be bodaciously you, go and amplify.